don't give this up, Keith. That's for sure. Don't do that.
Yeah, well, my lyrics are better than the voice. Absolutely. I thought my lyrics were brilliant, actually.
I thought they were too.
Did you? Thanks very much. Welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another Premier Division preview show. We've only 3 games this week, guys, so interesting week with obviously the European games, etc. So we'll start off with St. Patrick's Athletic and Derry City at Richmond Park. And Pats have a few injury suspension issues coming into this game. Ian Berman suspended, no left back available. Lee Desmond suspended. They're left with 2 centre backs, and there's a possibility John Mountney mightn't be available, so they could be in trouble here. Coughlin, I'm not sure up front either, but I suppose the good news of Pats that Alfie Lewis has returned to the setup. But Derry City have done well the last few weeks generally as well. They'll fancy their chances here, I think, Philip, in the circumstances, won't they?
Yeah, big time. I suppose from looking at the results over the past couple of weeks, like Derry have done okay, but I suppose especially with all the injuries and the suspensions that Pats have got at the moment, it just is probably the best time for Derry to catch Pats. Look, I always try to look at it from the last game. Derry weren't fantastic, but still got the results. So I think they'll probably be coming into this now flying and thinking we've a real chance here at doing these boys in because of what's going on with Pats. Like, I wouldn't like to say it, Keith, but I don't know if Pats are going to go in another spell that they did recently where they had a little couple of blips with results. I think with all the injuries and the suspensions that this might be the case. It's just not great to see so many bodies down and out as well, I suppose, from your perspective, obviously, as a Pats fan. But I think it's going to be actually a really entertaining game. I think with all the injuries and suspensions, it's going to open up the game a bit with the likes of young lads coming in, because I think Pats are going to have to do that. So I think it's going to be end to end. I personally think Derry are going to do it, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it does. I mean, as I said there, Pat's missing... They're not even missing that many players as such. They're missing a couple of players, but they're all kind of defenders, or Coughlin's a striker. But it just shows doesn't take many to be out for them to be missing players. And that's been the issue. Like, as Philip said there, they struggled a bit before the break when they started to get a few injuries. They came back flying after the break. Now they're missing a few players again. And it's hard to know. I mean, if Mountney isn't available, I haven't a clue what way they're going to set up there. Maybe Bowen will go right back. Lennon might go centre back. McClelland is likely to play left back. It's very, like, if you're going for a title or even Europe, I mean, look, Derry, after bringing in a few players as well, it's going to be difficult for Pats, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's going to be a very tough game for Pats, especially with having these injuries down at the minute now. And Derry will be looking at this, they'll be thinking, right, we actually have probably a much better chance than we would have had in recent weeks, simply to the fact that the bodies that are down. But look, it opens the door for Pats to play a different way, or a new players to come in, or lads to work against the team to come in and cement their place in the team. And I still think Pats will really put up to Derry. Philip made some really, really great points, and interesting and very true points about Derry, and
it's unusual
how he thinks Derry might do them. But I just think Pat's quality will be too good. I think the form of Derry at the minute, they're red hot, they're scoring goals. Even against Bows, they put it right up to us the other week, and scored 9 men. I think they'll have too much quality all around. Even players coming in would replace them, players out of position. I think Pats will win. It won't be comfortable, but I'll be very confident Pats will still beat Derry, and as much as I like Derry to see win.
Yeah, I don't know. As I said, you're talking about players are going to be out of position for Pats in this game. I think in the defence, especially, it's very any team would struggle, wouldn't they, Philip? If you had so many. I'm surprised actually Pats haven't brought in anyone this week, if I'm honest with you. I know there's been a slew of transfers as such, and we'll get on to one of them at Finn Harps in a minute, but I'm very surprised they haven't brought in anyone. They actually let Cian Kelly, one of their defenders, go on loan to Wexford as well. So look, I just think if you want to really compete for a title or challenge, or certainly at least cement your place in Europe, I think they're going to have to get players in. Otherwise, they're going to be big, big trouble. For me, I think Derry City are going to win the game, to be honest with you. McGonigal has come on, sub the last day junior. They just look like they've strengthened, and Pats are a bit weaker now. So I think this is a great opportunity for Derry and actually to go and get the result and beat Pats. at Richmond Park. So as we move on to Finn Harps and Waterford, this game is actually in Finn Park, and I know Finn Harps have a good record against Waterford in Ballybuffet, but it's a big game actually, because Waterford are they're in the rearview mirror a little bit on Finn Harps. Finn Harps could do with a win here, 2 wins of 15. If they could win this, I think you'll say to yourself, 9th and 10th is nearly sewn up. But if Waterford, Philip, could come here and do a job and get a win, it opens things up again at the bottom of the table, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. To be honest with you, I think this is going to be the biggest game of the weekend for both clubs in terms of their seasons and how it's going to go, because there's just such a fine line between the places at the minute. And I suppose if Waterford pick up a result here, it blows the thing right back into open water, which is great from a third person's perspective or the neutral's perspective, rather. Sorry. I'll be honest with you, though, Keith. I don't know. I can't see either result here. Funny enough, I've kind of looked at it already and said to myself, Finn Harps can't buy a win. And I'm telling you, Waterford's, although they've done all right up in Derry, away from home, they just don't look as strong a team, so, and that's saying a lot considering they're not a strong team in general. So I don't know. I just think with the likes of the lads from Waterford going back to England, I just think they'll probably still be missing those boys. And I just can't look and say Finn Harps are going to win the game either, just with the way things have gone for them. Do you know what I mean? They've had players playing through injury, as we've discussed previously, but just everything seems to have died out up there. Ballybuffet, they're going to have a few fans in, I've seen, as well for the game. So that might be a big factor in Finn Harps getting a result if they do. I said there a minute ago, I can't see either side winning it, but now I'm thinking about it. I'm chopping and changing. I've been chopping and changing all day. Do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck on the line here, and I'm going to say Finn Harps are going to win it. I'm just going to stick my neck out there and say they're going to win it 1-0. I would say it's going to be a pretty scrappy game, but I'm telling you now, it's going to be very entertaining in my opinion. So it's definitely one to watch back, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that's Waterford have brought in a couple of players in again. But again, they're after losing a bunch of players. So they have a new batch of kind of players that have to try and settle into the team. Max Hutchinson has come into the midfield. Now, I've seen him play once, actually. I highly doubt she's as good as Adam O'Reilly, who they lost, obviously. It feels like, though, this is a must-win, actually, for Waterford going into the game, doesn't it, really?
Well, for me, I actually think it's a must-win for both teams. The Carps will be happy with where they are on the table now. If they can finish there at the end of the season, that's the job done for them, and they'll be absolutely delighted with that. But look, Waterford, their neck is really underwater at the minute. They need to get points, and they need to get points quick if they want to move up the table and stay up, because they're in much hotter water now than Finn Harps are. I think Philip must have had my script there, Key. I think he must have mixed them up with him. But everything Philip said there, I entirely agree with towards the end anyway. And Harps are going to have fans in. They have a bit more points on the board. They have a more settled team, shall we? But they can't buy a win this season. That's been their problem. It's going to be very hard for them to get a win. I think it'll be very scrappy, but it'll be a scrappy 1-0 victory for Harps. I just think Waterford is chopping and changing, losing some of their best players. It's going to haunt them in this match. I think it's going to be very difficult for them. Look, let's be honest, no respect to Waterford, but they are one of the weaker teams this season, and it's been shown time and again. Yes, they turned over a few notable teams recently, but I just can't see Waterford getting the win here. I think it's going to be a Harps 1-0 win.
Yeah, Harps have added Jordan Mustoe, 30-year-old left back, to their ranks as well. He was playing in the Belgian third tier, so it's hard to say how good he was. But with the injuries and that, they kind of needed someone in there as well in defence. But look,
all the foreign players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, does he count as a foreign player these days? But yeah, I think what did you say? Finn Harps does as well, wasn't it?
Finn Harps 1-0 scrappy win.
Yeah, I think a draw, but I think it'd be one of those draws where Waterford might end up being a bit disappointed, if you know what I mean, that they don't get a result. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. On to the final game, Longford Town take on Drogheda United at the City Collins Stadium. And we talked about Longford last week, how well they played, but just couldn't get any result against a good Sligo team. However, if they were put in a display like that again, you'd like to think that their luck might change. They might score a goal or two the way they played in that match. But we know how good Drogheda have been this season. The last time they met at the City Collins, Drogheda before passed them as well. So obviously Longford will be trying to reverse that in some shape or form. Philip, how do you see this one going?
hard to look past Drogheda, isn't it? Like the way they've been playing. Look, I know when it comes to playing away, sometimes they may not be able to put up with it, but I just think the way they done Longford here the last time is just set up brilliant for them to go and do it again. Like, you know, Longford, as we said, are just that side that they're a nice side. Like, do you know what I mean? Everyone loves playing against them because even if you're in a tough game, you know, there's a good, strong chance you're going to get a result out of the match. So I can't look past Drogheda in this game, to be honest with you, Keith. I don't think it'll be as comfortable as the last game was, but I would say they will probably win 1 or 2-0.
Aaron, how do you see this one going? Do you think Longford can get a win here? I mean, they're not going to lose every week. I know we've said it and they've drawn recently as well, but can they get a win here?
I think, you know, we've been discussing recently, Longford do play good football when they can, and they kind of do know how to change it up, but they just can't get a win. And that's been time and time again this season, but it's the same story every week, just can't get a win. But look, I'm going to put my neck on the line here. I'm going to say Longford are going to win. The Drew will win. They are scrapping away and they are at the bottom. They have to get a win one time or another. I'm going to say this could be the game to do it. They'll definitely want to get one over Drogheda, but that put 4 past them. Like, they'll be up for this game. And more pressures on Drogheda. I think Longford are, you know, I wouldn't say they're down and out, but they are down there, whereas Drogheda are kind of flying a bit more high. So the pressure is on Drogheda to perform. Longford could nick it 1-0 or even a draw. But look, I hope Longford do win. They are due a win, and they will put in a good performance, I'm sure, because they won't want to let a 4-0 scrappy go out of the game. But they weren't even that bad in that game. That's the thing. They just couldn't really defend. You know, looking back at simple errors, simple decisions going wrong, and just individual mistakes. If they can stop doing that, they mightn't leak as many goals.
Ironically, Drogheda beat them 4-1 at United Park as well, and it was like 2-1 late into the game, like, as well. So again, like, they got 2 bad beatings as such in the scoreline for Drogheda, but they weren't 4-1s and 4-0. So, you know, that's kind of disappointing from Longford's point of view as well. What do you make of Drogheda generally this season, Daz, actually? Are you surprised by them?
I think it's very refreshing to see a team come up and play as well as they've played, and I think their recruitment's been excellent. They got a mix of experience and good players. I know a few of their standout players are really up there in the scoring charts, and they have a few goal scorers around the team, unlike a few teams that are relying on 1 or 2 players every week to score for them, which is very good to see. So I'm very delighted for them where they are. They're playing really well, like, and they're playing good football, and they've got a good mix and blend in the team. So I'm delighted for them. They're doing excellent. I didn't think they would do as well, but they're doing great. And fair play to everyone over there.
Yeah, I think Longford are going to get something out of this game. I'm not going to commit to a win, though. I'm not going to commit to a Longford victory, but I do think they can get something out of this game. Press enough against them against Sligo. Drogheda, yeah, look, we've talked about Drogheda before. We know what they can do, but Longford, you know, after those 2 bad beatings, I think might get something here. So I'll go for 1-1. And I think we'll leave it there, boys. It's a shortened show this week, guys. So subscribe if you're new, hit your bell notification button, like the video, and comment below. Only 3 games this week. Cheers, lads.